Yeah.
But footballing skills-wise, I think he's up there, and he's the future of great Italian defenders.
Well,
That's my pick.
Well, this is a player I've kind of said to you before. Is someone who really impressed me. I remember the first time I saw him for Inter, I said, "Okay, actually, tell me who's that guy? He looks at 17, but also at the same time looked so composed in defence, able to pass it out from the back. Never really see him make a mistake. He just slotted into that defence as a mature head at such a young age. He's one of the brightest defensive prospects in Europe. He was sick for me on Football Manager in last year's edition.
Really? What team?
I bought him for Arsenal. I had him, Zaniolo, who I brought in, and Barella. I kind of formed an Italian spine in my team, and Bastoni was one of the better ones. He was absolutely fantastic, and I think he is. For Italy, it's good for them to have a kind of exciting defender again. Like we always have such great defenders. It's good to see another one off the summit line, the production line.
Yeah, and I think that was brilliant business from Inter Milan, which is something that I don't say that often. We got him from Atalanta's youth team, then loaned him back to Atalanta, and then loaned him back to Parma for the entirety of last season, 2 seasons ago, and then he came back, became a starter. Conte loves him. He's learning a lot of him. Best youngster in the Premier League, Rory?
Okay, so now I'm sounding really indecisive because I am. And again, I have 2 names on this list. So, one of them is from my biased point of view, and one of them is kind of my biased view. So, biased, I think Bukayo Saka could be the best youngster to have come in the Premier League this year.
Okay.
He has been the best player for a struggling Arsenal team for both the second half of last season and definitely the beginning of this season. He's popped up with goals and assists in the Premier League. He's played left wing, left back, centre mid, right wing, left centre mid. He has played everywhere, and he has looked accomplished in all of those positions.
But
he's made his debut for He's made his debut for England. He's started to become a kind of regular for England, all at 19. I think this guy is fucking exciting. I love that he signed a 5-year contract at Arsenal. He is one of the futures of our team. But I realise that everyone else is going to be saying, man, you're stupid. Like, there's been much more impressive youngsters this year.
For example?
And I am going to pick someone who doesn't grab all the headlines, but I think maybe he should. And Tom will be very happy with this.
He knows.
It is Declan Rice. I think he is such an all-round midfielder. So last season especially, he was very good at winning the ball back, dictating play, keeping the ball moving, like that kind of metronome. Now this season he's really added to his game by being able to get forward. He's become a much more of a box-to-box midfielder. He's now West Ham captain, or he is captaining the team. Again, at 20, I think, 19-20, he's become the focal point of that team, and again, for England, is a key player. I think he's someone who is a very, very exciting prospect for the future. He's had a very big 2020, definitely a breakout year. The bigger teams are looking at him, like Chelsea, who let him go when he was a youngster, so they might have to buy him back. But I think, honestly, the way West Ham are looking at the moment, they could keep him for a while. I think he's quite happy there. He's happy being, like I said, happy being the captain, happy being the focal point of the team, whereas at Chelsea or United or Liverpool he might not be. But yeah, he is my best youngster in the Premier League 2020, shortly followed by Saka. And I know people are going to be shouting Jack Grealish. I did look at Jack Grealish as well, but I have chosen Declan.
Very quickly, because we don't want to delve into sad topics, but awards for most disappointing team in Premier League and in the Serie A, they go to Sheffield United, whom we've talked about earlier.
Sorry, Pete.
And in Italy, Torino. I mean, all I have to say about Torino is, what the fuck? 27 points in 35 games. Their manager. Can you believe that their manager is still coaching them?
It's insane. I don't know,
Man, and the incredible thing...
Does he have something on the chairman?
So the funny thing
photos of him that he doesn't want released?
Well, the funny thing is that the owner of Torino is also the owner of the media company that owns La Gazzetta dello Sport, the main Italian sports, actually football newspaper.
Yeah, sports is
the day after they lost, I don't remember to whom, but they were up 2-0. They lost 3-2 as they've done. Oh. You know that they would be first in Serie A for first halves. They always come out winners in the first halves, and then teams come back. But after one of their most terrible wins the next day, article on La Gazzetta dello Sport talked about Giampaolo's philosophy at Torino, how well it's working, and it's just like, guys, don't make it as a parent that you're.
The Emperor's new clothes or something.
Exactly. So yeah, everything looks fine from an outside point of view, but Torino are sucking balls, and I think that they need a better manager, they need a better owner, they need to be again, because they are risking relegation. But now our last two awards, they go to best game of the season and funniest gaffe of the season. Which one do you want to start from?
Okay, let's go for the best game in Serie A, Tommy.
Best game in Serie A. Holy fuck, I did not watch this game. I was working in Switzerland. It was February last year. My best friend Michael, whom you've heard on the pod in the latest episode, the Christmas special, came back from China to Milan only to watch this game. That was, of course, the Milan derby. Inter against AC Milan. The funny thing is that after that game, he's got stuck here and he hasn't been able to get back to China.
Never been back.
But that's another story. Well, that game, first half, 2-0 AC Milan. At the time, Andanovic was injured for Inter Milan. Padelli, our second string goalkeeper, terrible from our management to even consider having him as a second string goalkeeper. The guy is not a football player. He basically gives away 2 goals, one especially to Rebic. The other one is a terrible dive in front of Ibrahimovic. AC Milan are up 2-0. I was working. We were having a meeting at night with my colleagues. Checked the score 15 minutes into the second half. And I see that it's 2. And then it's 3-2. And then it's 4-2. And when Lukaku scores the 4-2, there is this iconic picture of him lifting the corner kick flag with his shirt on top. And it was great. It was awesome. I loved his Twitter post, Milan as a new king, there's a king in town, something like that. But I wish I had watched it. And my friend Michael says that probably at halftime, he made a vow to the universe. He said, I don't care what the fuck happens. We need to win this game. Guess what happened? Global pandemic. You can't go back to China. You're stuck here. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. That's the Serie A greatest game of the season. Who do we have in the Premier League? I know you're excited about this one.
Again, I'm unable to make a decision, and I have a breakdown of 3 games, or a choice of 3 games. I'm looking at... So we have Liverpool 4, Leeds 3 from the first game of the season, so Klopp versus Bielsa.
That was an exciting one.
That was a great game. The standouts were the Salah volley for me and the Jack Harrison rocket. We also have Spurs 3, West Ham 3, with that fantastic last-second goal from Lanzini. Or Liverpool 5, Chelsea 3, which is the game where Liverpool clinched their title win and where Klopp and Lampard had an argument on the sideline. They were all great games, but I'm going to choose, because I feel like I've been a bit Liverpool heavy, I'm going to go for Spurs 3, West Ham 3. Yes, I am a little bit biased. Spurs being 3-0 up and getting pegged back is brilliant. West Ham always do well against Spurs. And for the Lanzini goal and the reactions afterwards, that is my game of the season. I think it was during a particularly tough run for West Ham, and this was one of the games where they kind of started to show a bit of steel and their system was working, and they were like, no, we're not just going to get rolled over. I think this was a landmark result for West Ham, which pushed them on to get other great results. So I'm going to say, best game, Spurs 3, West Ham 3, at the London Stadium, the Armitage Shanks Arena.
We're going to drop a few links below this episode so you can watch some videos, and we're definitely going to find the 2 Tottenham supporters podcast
the
guys.
Reaction is fantastic.
Their reaction is fantastic. Thank you guys for an awesome moment. But within that game, Rory, we also have another award, right?
Yeah, so hidden an award within award. It's all getting quite meta. My goal of the year is that Lanzini rocket. Crossbarring in, which I always love a crossbarring in. It's in the last dying seconds of the game. I think it ticks all the boxes. It kind of hits the crossbar, bounces just over the line, then hits the back of the net. The reaction from the fans in an empty stadium, just the West Ham fans celebrating, sounds like the place is full on the bench. It's amazing. What a goal. What a goal. Right foot rocket.
Yeah, we didn't want to give it to Son once again.
No, he's already got the pushcash.
He's already got the pushcash, but we did say that this one is more important, right? So, Manuel Lanzini, you are the winner of 2020.
Congratulations.
And in Serie A, the best goal of the season. over so many games, so many goals, there is always a very intense short list. But I think the most impressive one, also considering that the guy scored this goal between two different ACL injuries.
Yeah.
Niccolò Zaniolo versus Spal this summer. So you will have the link below, but let me describe it really quickly.
Please.
Chris Smalling gets the ball back in defense, gives it to Zaniolo, who is chilling right before the half. Looks around and then he's like, I'm just gonna go. There is one defender that tries to snatch the ball from him. He turns, another one, he shoulders him off. Then he just puts the ball forward, burns another one. There are two guys closing in on him. One, at this point, they're in the Spal's box. One of the two defenders gets a touch on the ball, and at that point, Zaniolo understands that he cannot get hold of the ball anymore, and he just hammers it on the back of the net.
It's a beautiful goal. Get well soon, Zaniolo. I want to see you back on the pitch. He's such a great player.
I want to see you at Euro 2021. No rush to play for Roma, man. Nobody cares. Just be well and be fit for Euro 2021, 2022, 2023, whatever number that will be.
Whenever it's going to be. So finally, Tommy, it's time for your funniest moment of the season. Let's go for Serie A first, and then we'll go for the Premier League.
This was at the beginning of the year, but I haven't found anything better than this. Pau Lopez, AS Roma's goalkeeper last season, the derby against Lazio, arguably their biggest game of the season. There is a corner kick by Lazio. A Lazio player is far away on the second post, gets a touch on it. The ball goes up, and at this point you see Pau Lopez trying to understand the trajectory, where it is going to come down to. He raises a hand, but the ball touches the crossbar. After it touches the crossbar, it bounces back in the field, and at that point, Smalling gets a touch on it, because rightfully so, he's like, this goalkeeper is not going to do anything. He gets a touch that would get the ball over the crossbar, but Pau Lopez decides to slap the ball on the feet of Acerbi, Lazio's defender, who scores the 1-1, the equalizer for the game. Well. It was awful. I'm sorry, Pau Lopez. I'm very sorry, but that was the funniest moment in the Serie A for me. What about in the Prem?
Okay, so I think that most people have been laughing at Arsenal for most of the season, so I think there's a few moments that I'm going to discuss. The first one is... So I don't know if you heard that. We'll do it one more time, because I do love this clip. I love everything about this clip. I love that it's very northern swearing from Rob Holding. So he's just taken down Adama Traore, Adama Traore has gone down on the pitch. And Rob Holding continues or goes to scream, he's gone down like a brick shithouse. He's built like a brick shithouse. How has he gone down like that? And I just love everything about this clip. It is the frustration of Holding being the only defender that was capable that day and him being shafted by this man mountain. I love everything about it. The other clip I wanted to bring up was Kieran Tierney inexplicably tripping over his own feet against Aston Villa. There's a great angle of this, of as Tierney falls over, the advertising hoarding, word Arsenal slowly appears as he falls over, and so I think it was a Spurs fan shared it like this is like an advert for Arsenal Football Club, like Arsenal, and the defender just collapses under no pressure whatsoever. So I think that was a moment that plenty of people enjoyed. But I'm going to have to say Rob Holding, brick shithouse. When I heard it live, I burst out laughing, and I love you, Holdini. You've been fucking great this season.
Holdini.
He's amazing.
Oh my God,
amazing.
Holdini.
He's amazing.
So that takes us to that was our last award. To recap, best teams in Serie A and the Premier League, AC Milan and Liverpool. Best players, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah. Best manager, Stefano Pioli and Jurgen Klopp. Best signing, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Bruno Fernandes. Best goals of the season, Niccolò Zaniolo in Italy and Manuel Lanzini in the UK. Best game, Inter against AC Milan. Please win the second one, the return game this year. And then Tottenham West Ham, 3-3. Yes. And then funniest gaff, Pau Lopez in Italy. And then we've got a whole thing, what did he call it?
Brick shit house.
A brick shit house in England. Best youngster in Italy, Alessandro Bastoni for Inter and Declan Rice for West Ham. And finally, the most disappointing teams in each league are Torino in Italy and Sheffield United. Sorry, Pete. In England. So this is a wrap on our Euro review and awards, Rory.
Before we go, I just think this is a good time to look